In a small town surrounded by dense forests and perpetual fog, there was an old legend about an abandoned house on the outskirts of the town. It was said that the house once belonged to a wealthy family, but they suddenly disappeared without a trace decades ago. Since then, the house became known as the haunted house, and many refused to go near it, fearing the mysterious events that were said to occur there. One foggy evening, a young man named Kareem decided to uncover the secret of this abandoned house. Kareem was passionate about mysteries and secrets, and he had heard many strange stories about this place, so he decided to investigate for himself. He packed his bag with a camera, a small rug, and several essential tools, and then he headed toward the house. When Kareem arrived at the house, he found the iron gate rusty and locked, but the main door was slightly ajar. He gently pushed the door and entered, greeted by a heavy and cold silence. The floor was covered in dust, and the furniture was old and decrepit. The ghosts that were said to haunt this house were not visibly present, but the atmosphere was charged with a strange feeling. Kareem began to explore the house, illuminating details with his flashlight. As he took photos and searched for any signs of strange occurrences, he noticed something unusual. There were old photos on the walls, depicting the missing family members, but the eyes in the photos seemed to follow his movements. In one dark room, Kareem found an old wooden closet. When he opened it, he found a collection of old documents and diaries, along with a small golden key. The diaries recounted the family's disappearance and mentioned something about the time that controls the darkness. There were also cryptic messages warning about returning to where the legend began. Suddenly, the power went out in the house, and everything was plunged into darkness. Kareem tried to use his flashlight, but he noticed that the light wouldn't pass through one of the walls. The atmosphere inside grew colder, and the mysterious sounds he had heard earlier returned, as if whispers echoed throughout the house. Kareem felt something touch his back and quickly turned around to find himself face to face with an undefined shadow. The shadow moved slowly towards him, making strange and frightening sounds. Kareem tried to escape but felt as though the doors and corridors were shifting, becoming illogical, twisting and turning around him unnaturally. As he tried to find an escape route, Kareem found a small room with an old clock hanging on the wall. The clock read 12 o'clock, but the hands were moving backward. When Kareem touched the clock, a secret door behind him opened, leading him into a long, dark corridor. Kareem walked down the corridor until he reached another room with a large window. Through the window, he saw something bizarre. The forest outside was turning upside down, and the trees moved as if following a certain pattern. In the midst of this scene, Kareem saw mysterious figures dancing around a blazing fire. Suddenly, the lights in the house came back on, and the shadow disappeared. Kareem felt that things were beginning to stabilize, but he knew he couldn't stay there any longer. He took the diaries and the key and ran toward the exit. Kareem returned to the town and decided to keep the secret of the house to himself. However, he felt something strange after that experience. A constant feeling that the time that controls the darkness was not merely a myth but alluded to something deeper and more enigmatic.